There are many forms of meditation. A great one to start with is one that evokes a very natural state in us, kindness. Once you learn this meditation, it can be available to you at any time. No app needed. The original name of this practice is Metta Bhavana. Metta means love, friendliness, or kindness, and Bhavana means the development or cultivation. So loving kindness meditation is a method of developing compassion. It comes from the Buddhist tradition and it can be adapted and practiced by anyone, regardless of religion. It is essentially about cultivating love. Metta is unconditional, inclusive love with wisdom. It doesn't depend on whether one deserves. It's not restricted to friends and family. It extends out to include all living beings. There are no expectations of anything in return. It is the ideal, pure love which everyone has in potential. We begin with loving ourselves, for unless we have a measure of this unconditional love and acceptance for ourselves, it is difficult to extend it to others. And then we include others who are special to us and ultimately all living beings. So it's a meditation of care, concern, and tenderness, a feeling of warmth for oneself and others. The practice is the softening of the mind and heart, an opening to deeper and deeper levels of the feeling of kindness, of pure love. It is without the desire to possess. It is a sentimental feeling of goodwill. It's not an obligation. It comes from a selfless place, and it doesn't depend on relationships, how the other person feels about us. The process is one of softening, breaking down barriers that we feel inwardly towards ourselves and those that we feel towards others. So you may think, well, I don't feel all that selfless, deep love and warmth, and that's okay. The phrases in this meditation are designed to evoke goodwill, not necessarily good feelings. A common reason for difficulty with loving kindness meditation is we have expectations about how we're supposed to feel. And loving kindness practice does not directly change our emotions, but good feelings are an inevitable byproduct of the intention of goodwill. So we start the practice to decrease stress and increase well-being and feelings of connectedness. Other benefits are decreased pain, more emotional intelligence, and more self-kindness. They have found increases in gray matter in areas of the brain related to emotional regulation. Shorter telomeres are a biological marker of aging, and those with experience in loving kindness meditation had longer telomere length compared to age-matched controls. So the nice thing about loving kindness meditation is that it is effective in immediate and small doses, instant gratification, but it also has long-lasting and enduring effects. So these are the common stages of loving kindness meditation. Often people start with themselves, move out to a close loved one, and then a neutral person. It could be someone in the grocery store, clerk, or a neighbor that you don't know very well. And there's some refreshment in sending loving kindness when there's no story about them. You just want to understand that that's a person who wants to be happy just as each of us wants to be happy. And you extend that force of loving kindness towards them. And they move on to someone who may have some difficulty with. And that is a very interesting place because it is difficult and very powerful because in some ways it symbolizes the difference between, the conditional love and the unconditional that goes beyond having our desires met or our affection returned or having people treat us well. And that defines the line between that which is finite and infinite. And so, yet it is not easy. It is important. They say you can start with someone who just, you have a little irritation with, not the person who has hurt you most in your life. And this is part of the process. Kristen Neff says some people do have trouble starting with themselves, so she has them begin focusing on a loving someone that you're close to. Could be a pet, a grandmother, a child, and then include yourself and that child, and then you focus on yourself, and then it goes to neutral, etc. So just different orders of techniques. And there are different kinds of good wishes. So loving kindness is the wish that all sentient beings be happy. And compassion is the wish that all sentient beings be free from suffering. So loving kindness and compassion are the practice of goodwill. Phrases can be tailored to cultivate either loving kindness or compassion. So phrases that point towards happiness, may I be happy, may I live with ease, and those that address the experience of suffering, may I be free from fear, may I accept myself just as I am. So loving kindness phrases tend to evoke joyful feelings, whereas compassion phrases tend to elicit an attitude of care, comfort, and encouragement. Finding phrases is like writing poetry. We're angling for language that evokes the energy or attitude of loving kindness or compassion that we are wishing to cultivate. And there's no need to use phrases that may have been passed down for millennia. You can make your own. Just as the breath can be an anchor for meditation, loving kindness phrases can anchor our attention. And much of the power of meditation comes from concentration. So if we can come up with 2 or 4 phrases that we are willing to practice with, it supports the concentrative aspect of meditation. So these phrases can also be used during everyday life, and we can be flexible and choose ones that apply to our situations. The best phrases are simple, clear, authentic, and kind. And when we found a good phrase, we might feel some gratitude. Oh, thank you. And good phrases allow the heart to finally feel rest. Some of the popular phrasing would be, may I be safe, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I live with ease. And then people might want to be trying to cultivate other things, such as self-care. May I care for myself joyfully. Or self-acceptance. May I accept myself just as I am. May I be at peace with whatever is happening. Whatever speaks to your individual situation is a fantastic place to start. Don't get too caught up on getting the perfect phrases. So instead of addressing yourself as I, you might address yourself as you or use your actual name. You might also use a term of endearment such as sweetheart or dear one. I've heard Kristen Neff frequently refer to herself as darlin'. Addressing oneself in this way helps promote a sense of affection. Using you rather than I may be more likely to motivate you into action if that is the purpose of your practice. The best phrases are said slowly. There's no rush. You recite each segment or prayer 3 or 4 times. And the phrases are offered warmly, like whispering them into the ear of someone you love. What matters is the attitude behind the phrases. So it's meant to be done in the easiest, most gentle way possible so the experience springs forth most naturally. And we're not worrying about the breathing. We're letting our mind rest within the phrases. The feelings will come and go. Sometimes it will feel quite glorious. And sometimes, many times, it will be very ordinary, dry, very mechanical, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that nothing is happening or that it's not working. What we're doing we're forming the intention in the mind, and that's uniting the power of loving kindness and the power of intention. And that is what will produce the effect of the free flow of loving kindness. So our job, so to speak, is to say those phrases, knowing what they mean without trying to fabricate a feeling. Let your mind rest in the phrases and let the phrases be meaningful to you. There's a link to handouts in the description, and here is Sharon Salzberg to guide you through the practice.
Loving kindness meditation. In this practice, we rest our attention on the silent repetition of certain phrases. The phrases are the conduit or the guide for paying attention differently. We work with being inclusive rather than excluding, connected rather than alienated, caring rather than indifferent. The phrases need to be simple and general because we'll offer these phrases to ourselves and to others, ending in the offering to all beings everywhere, to all of life. The phrases are an act of generosity. They're offering. They're gift-giving. It's a feeling tone of blessing. Common phrases beginning with oneself are things like, may I be safe, be happy, be healthy, live with ease. That last, live with ease, means in the things of day-to-day life like livelihood and family, may not be such a struggle. May I live with ease. May I be safe, be happy, be healthy, live with ease. Remember, this is a form of generosity. We're not pleading or imploring that maybe someday we might be happy. It's gift-giving. We're offering, instead of only focusing on what we don't like about ourselves or things we're afraid of, we're opening up to this whole other perspective of wishing well. The first recipient is ourselves, so you can sit comfortably, close your eyes or not, let your attention settle into your body. Gather all of your attention behind one phrase at a time. You can use those 4 phrases I just suggested, or phrases of your own. I'd say if you're not accustomed to this practice, for now, experiment with those phrases, so you have some further time to think through what you might prefer to say or not. So again, what I suggested was, may I be safe, be happy, be healthy, live with ease. You can repeat these over and over again with enough space and enough silence so that it's a rhythm that's pleasing to you. This is like the song of the heart. It's not a practice where you have to try to force or manufacture a special feeling or emotion. The power of the practice comes from the complete wholehearted gathering of all of our attention behind one phrase at a time. And when your attention does wander and you get distracted, don't worry about it. See if you can gently let go, bring your attention back. See if you can call to mind a benefactor. A benefactor is someone who's helped you. Maybe they've helped you directly. They've helped pick you up when you've fallen down. Or maybe you've never met them. They've inspired you from afar. This is known as the being whom when we think of them, we smile. It's like an embodiment of the force of love for us. Might be an adult, might be a child, might be a pet. Who just lifts our spirits, who makes us smile when we just think about them. So if there's someone like that who comes to mind, you can bring them here. Get an image of them, say their name to yourself, get a feeling for their presence, and offer the phrases of loving kindness to them. Even if the words don't seem perfect, that's okay. They're the vehicle for the heart's energy, so they're serving us. And if no benefactor comes to mind, you can just remain with the offering of loving kindness to yourself. Call to mind a friend, the first friend who comes up for you. See if you can get an image of them. Say their name to yourself. Get a feeling for their presence and offer the phrases of loving kindness to them. And then a neutral person, that's someone we don't strongly like or dislike. We just feel kind of neutral about them. Maybe they play a sort of role in our lives, like checkout person in the supermarket, dry cleaner, somebody we tend to see now and then. And if someone like that comes to mind, bring them here. And see what happens as you offer the phrases of loving kindness to them. And then a mildly difficult person, somebody with whom there's just a small amount of conflict or difficulty. Bring them here and see what happens as you offer the phrases of loving kindness to them. If even a mildly difficult person proves too challenging, that's all right. That's a good time to go back and offer loving kindness to yourself. And then finally, all beings everywhere, all people, all creatures, all those in existence, near and far, known and unknown. May all beings be safe, be happy, be healthy, live with ease. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes or lift your gaze and see if you can bring some of this spirit of attention and loving kindness throughout your day. In any one session of this kind of practice, it certainly may not be possible to go through the entire rotation. So we say that the basic bookends are beginning with yourself and ending with all beings everywhere, and what you're moved to do on a particular day can always change. Maybe you have a friend who's getting an award that day, so you want to be sure to include them, or a friend who's having surgery that day, so you want to be sure to include them. There's so many possibilities, and you can be creative and open to see what happens.